Alrighty. Welcome everybody. Cartez Ross here with Move Abroad and Thrive. So today I'm just going to talk about some of the common misconceptions that people have about life in Mexico in general. So I'm going to talk about a variety of things. Oftentimes many of these questions come from people that are thinking about moving here, and these are legitimate questions. Our media in the United States has done a good job in terms of painting Mexico in a certain light. And, so let's talk about it. So number one, Mexico, one of the biggest misconceptions, Mexico is a very, very poor country. I've been living here now for 2.5 years. It'll be 3 years come this June. And, I can say that obviously, yes, there are many parts of Mexico where the poverty level, you can see it. You know what I'm saying? But, also you can see the same thing in the United States as well. I know my brother and my dad, when he was teaching school, and they particularly taught in the inner city. And not just in the inner city, also that you'll see this in the rural areas. My daughter is a cop, and the further out you go into some of these towns, the poverty is high. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. There's many parts of the United States where poverty, you have kids who go to school. The only time they eat is when they get breakfast or lunch from school. I've heard constant stories all the time. When Friday came along, kids, that was the last meal they ate until they came back to school on Monday. And it wasn't uncommon for kids to take some of their lunch, stuff it in their pockets so they can take some of the food home to share with their brothers and sisters at home. This is the United States that I'm talking about, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about millions of kids across the United States deal with hunger every single day. Yes. There are parts of Mexico, many parts of Mexico, where the poverty level is high. The World Bank classifies Mexico as an upper middle income country. You know what I mean? That's from the World Bank. So there are parts of Mexico where you can go and, the quality of life is just absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. You have beach towns, you have big cities with fancy malls and condos, mansions, $1 million homes, everything, malls that are just out of this world. You know what I mean? So, yes, poverty everywhere, all countries, all across the world. One big thing that you must do if you're thinking about moving abroad or even just considering Mexico is to come down, take a look at it for yourself, investigate it, and I think you will be blown away by what you see. So, number two, let me just write this thing up. You'll get sick in living in Mexico. Let me see if I write that right. Yeah, listen, this is not just Mexico, many other parts of the world as well. You go and drink the water, it's not recommended. Some of the food that you eat off the street is not recommended. Now, I got sick. Now, again, I'll be here 3 years come June. I've been sick one time from the food, and that's when I first got here. I ate from this taco stand that was under a bridge, under like a bypass, a highway bridge. It was late at night, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at midnight. Nobody was out there. It was just me and this guy with this lit up truck serving some hamburger meat, some pork meat, some hot dogs, and some ham, and some bacon, and some pineapple. I was probably asking for it in reality. You know what I'm saying? I brought the food home. The kids were like, "No, we don't want none." So I was the only one that ate it, and then woke up the next day. I was sick like a dog. Oh my God, I was sick. But that is the only one time that I got sick from living in Mexico. I brushed my teeth with the water from the tap. I've accidentally drank the water in this particular part of Mexico. I'm in Mérida, Yucatan. I don't know about the water in other parts of Mexico, but I've accidentally drinking the water many times with no sickness at all. The thing, of course, and I do eat street food almost on a daily basis. Again, I just got sick that one time. Like I say, when you go to these food trucks or these stands and these vendors outside, if there's nobody else standing in line, it's probably a good sign not to eat. But when you go to some of these other places where you see the food, the guys outside selling food, and they got lines of people, you got a better bet. And like I say, I followed that rule. It's done me well. Haven't been sick since. And like I say, I eat food off the streets on a daily basis. My kids eat food off the streets on a regular basis, and nothing has happened. You know what I mean? You can drink ice. You go to the restaurants, you can get ice. The ice, they typically buy ice. There's a bunch of ice companies all over, particularly here in Merida. These companies deliver fresh ice to all the restaurants. So the ice that you get is not from the tap, so you're not going to get sick. So that's just something to be mindful of. You can request water. It doesn't always have to be bottled water. The restaurants, they typically serve you filtered water from the restaurants as well. And again, never had any issues with that. Again, just use common sense. And I should have used common sense when I got that burger off side of the road under a bridge, and I was the only one out there. Hospitals are not good is another misconception. There are many of the hospitals here are accredited, and many of the cities here are offering medical tourism. Medical tourism is a very big thing here in Mexico. People from all over the world, not just the United States, they come here to get medical services, treatment for dental care, plastic surgery, what else? Eye surgery, medical stuff. A lot of folks come down here and get CAT scans, MRIs, because they're super expensive in the United States. They come here, get a full workup, get all their labs done, and they take it back to the States for interpretation and stuff like that. So a lot of folks here, the hospitals here are very good. I've been in the hospital. I've had certain emergency surgery here. I had to have my thyroid removed. My daughter had a cyst. She had to have emergency surgery, had a big cyst that had wrapped around one of the ovaries. So she had to have surgery. And we've been in the medical system here for quite extensively, probably more than most. And we have been very happy with the quality of care. My daughter is getting a root canal. It was $125 for the root canal, and it's going to be $225, I believe, for the crown and total. So all of that for root canal and crown. I had my teeth cleaned not long ago. I paid like 15 or 18 US dollars, the equivalent, and you know what I mean. So hospital care, the healthcare system is great now. Just like in the United States, doctors make mistakes. Hospitals and doctors get sued in the United States all the time for all sorts of malpractices. Pharmacies giving out the wrong medications. So again, that happens anywhere in the world, and can and does. Mexico's not exempt. Are their hospitals perfect? No, but many of the hospitals are very modern. Many of the hospitals are private hospitals, where you have to pay for services or pay more for insurance to be treated in these hospitals. They also have public hospitals, just like they do in the United States. You can't pay, you can go to some of these public hospitals and get treatment. So again, you have options. It's not all bad. As I mentioned before, the best thing to do is come here and check it out for yourself. Another thing is people talk about, they don't speak English. And that's true. I mean, it is Mexico, where the language they speak primarily is Spanish. However, many of the schools here, they tend to teach their kids English from primary school all the way through high school. So a lot of the younger generation of folks, by the time they graduate high school or finish up with college, they're speaking really good quality English. And typically, many of the places that we go, if there's an issue with us having a difficult time understanding what's going on, typically someone that's around or someone on the staff speaks English. And so that's very helpful. So we don't oftentimes find ourselves in a bind here. When I was in Colombia, different parts of Colombia, man, English was spoken very, very, very little. So in Mexico, it's a lot more forgiving here. Many more people here speak English. I think it has a lot to do with being, of course, right on the border. So that's a plus. So if that's a big concern for you, practice some Spanish, learn some Spanish, and the little bit of Spanish that you know and mixed in with the little bit of English that some of the locals will know, you can get by quite well with your conversation. Also, with Google Translate, apps like that, man, it's very helpful for you to be able to communicate and get things figured out. What else? I got a little list here. The heat. A lot of folks complain about it's hot. Now, before I hop into that, I wanted to mention this. I forgot to say this. This Sunday on the 11th of February 11th at 7:30 p.m., we will be doing a live interview with an immigration attorney, and we'll also be doing a live interview with a real estate law attorney. We've been trying to get this set for a while. We finally was able to lock down a date and time. So if you are a VIP member, make sure you put this on your calendar. You'll be able to log in and talk to these attorneys directly. I won't be interviewing them at all. I bought an hour of their time, 2 hours of their time, for you all, for our members, to be able to talk to them directly and ask questions. So I won't be interviewing them. This call is for our members only. You can hop on the call. If you got questions about immigration, you can talk and ask those questions. If you have questions about buying property and real estate, because there are a lot of rules and laws in terms of buying real estate. You can't be this close to the beach. You can't be this close to a border town. You have to sign up with a corporation or a trust. And so the real estate attorney will be able to address all of that for you. What are the requirements to get residency? What are the requirements to get permanent? What are the requirements to become a citizen, etc.? Can you wrap family members under your visa? You'll be able to ask the immigration attorney that directly. If you're not a member of, let me put it here on the screen. If you're not a member of VIP, get signed up, move abroad, and thrive.com/VIP. Get signed up, and that, like I say, this is going to be a live, interactive meeting through virtual online this Sunday, February 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The members will receive the login details to access that, so that you can get on the call. So I'm going to hop back to this here. A lot of folks seem to think that Mexico is hot, just like the States. Different parts of the country, you have different types of climates. Same thing for Mexico. If you want to be in an area that's cold or cool, there's a place for you. If you want to be in the area low altitude, high altitude, there's a place for you. If you want to live on the beach, right there on the coastline, there's a place for you. And if you like to be hot, in the hot areas, there's a place for you. Like right now, again, I'm in Merida, the Yucatan, and it gets hot like hell is what a lot of folks would describe it. And it's extremely hot a few months out of the year, and after that, it just kind of mellows out. Like today, I think the low was like 64 or 66 degrees today was the low, which is cold for us. But it can get pretty hot. In about another month, the temperature is going to shoot up some, and it's going to be extremely hot. But there is a climate here for you. Many parts of Mexico, they don't have air conditioning units, and they don't have heating units at all in the houses, because the weather it stays pretty consistent. I mean, we're talking like 80 degrees, 85 degrees. and you don't need to blast no air conditioning. So again, all of this comes back to doing your research, going out and checking these places out for yourself, and just and putting boots on the ground and getting a perspective from being there on your own. So check it out. Number 6, I'm gonna add another one in here. A lot of folks talk about the violence and narcotics cartel. So narcotics. Listen, drugs flow heavily throughout the United States. There are drug dealers everywhere. There are gang members everywhere. No different here. Crime is crime. Wherever people are at, there's going to be crime. And I know where we're at, Merida, considered like the second safest city in all of North America. That's United States, Canada, and Mexico. And, it's very, very safe here. There are other parts of Mexico that's very safe to live. Over 1 million Americans, over 1 million U.S. citizens live here in Mexico full time. You know what I mean? You have crime and violence everywhere. Some areas are going to have more of it. Some parts of the United States are going to have a lot more than other parts of the United States. And that's the same with Mexico. Some parts of Mexico, they're just going to have a lot more crime and violence and drug issues than other parts of Mexico. Again, just do the research, do your homework, look up crime stats, and you'll be surprised that there are many cities here in Mexico where the crime is just very low and you're not going to have anything to worry about. You know what I mean? You just got to kind of get out there and stop listening to what they're saying on the news all the time and just go and check it out for yourself. Mexico has been really great for us. Like I say, it'll be 3 years in June that we've been here, and we absolutely love it. Hopefully later on this year, we might be able to kind of get out and travel a little bit and visit some other parts of the world just to go out and explore. But for the most part, most likely Merida will be our home base where we come back to and stay and live permanently, and just use this as a launch pad to go explore. I do like Mexico because, again, it's the close proximity to the United States. A lot of the things that we're used to culturally from the States, a lot of that stuff is here. The time zones are very similar. If you need to get home in a hurry for an emergency or whatever, 2 to 3 hours away, depending on what part of Mexico you're in. We're in the south part of Mexico. I can be in Atlanta in 3 hours, tops. You know what I mean? So you got options. You got places to go. Like I say, if you like beach towns, if you like living up in the mountains, if you like a hot or a cooler climate, there's a place for you. You just got to do the research, go check it out, and see what's happening. So that's it, man. What misconception do you have about Mexico? And for those of you, please write that in the comments. And for those of you all who live here in Mexico, what myth has been busted all up after you made the transition and moved here? After you made the move here, let me know. Share that in the comments. Again, we're going to be interviewing come on, man. Oh, here we go with all this noise. But again, we're going to be doing a live interview this weekend with an immigration attorney, real estate law attorney. If you're a VIP member, get your questions asked. You can talk to these folks directly. I paid for 2 hours of their time for you all. So if you're not a member, consider joining, become a member so you can get on this call February 11th, Sunday at 7:30 p.m. We'll go live. All of the login details to access the meeting will be inside of the members only area. So look forward to seeing you all on that chat.